Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah. Good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live like we do each and every morning. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And the man on the other microphone, he is a great patriot. You all know him as...
Yeah, it's your boy Chris America coming to you live this Tuesday, the 26th of February. It is the day where most NFL football junkies, addicts, they love this day, Loudbeard. This is where they get their first off-season fix of football. But it's really not football. It's just guys in whitey tighties getting weighed in, getting measured, getting tested and probed, and then running 40s.
So this sounds like your Christmas right here. You like to open up those Tighty Whities, right?
Yes, sir. And then I like to get, tested and probed.
Gotcha. Yeah, combine time, huh? That time of year when normally you don't have a football fix this time of year. Usually there's not this minor league AAF alliance going on. So the combine is like your way to say, oh my gosh, football, it's coming back. It'll eventually be back. I get to see what all these young guys are doing. But unfortunately, it really doesn't mean anything, does it, Chris America? It doesn't mean anything. And so with that being said, why does everybody get so excited about the combine?
Well, I don't know if maybe it's because of the AAF that I'm not. I mean, I've never really been that much interested, but I didn't even it snuck up on me this year. I kind of started listening to sports talk radio yesterday, and that's all they were talking about. I was like, oh yeah, the combine is at the end of February.
Yeah, that it is. I mean, and the big story from the combine is going to be Kyler Murray, right? I think that's the one guy that everybody's going to keep an eye on, that they want to see, how tall is he really? How fast is he really? How much is he going to show off at the combine to really help his draft status get into that top, 5 maybe, top 10? Where is he going to fall? So that's going to be the most intriguing storyline around the combine. And even that, it's like, okay, we know the guy's short, and we know the guy's fast. Like, we need to know by how many tenths of a second faster is he than we think he is, or how many, half an inch is he shorter than he was measured at earlier. Like, I guess this is, why are we so excited about this? I don't know.
Yeah, and I got to think, especially the quarterback position, like you mentioned, he's fast, he's short. I feel like the throwing is the only thing I want to know about. Maybe some shuttle runs. I want to see how good his feet are. But I don't know why you need him to run the 40. Like, did Peyton Manning hurt his or help his cause when he ran like a 7.52 second 40 time?
Come on, don't be hating on Peyton Manning like that. The worst looking 40 of all time was Tom Brady.
Well, that's why he went to the 6th round, so maybe that did hurt him, and that answered my question.
Yep, question answered. And did that hurt his actual football playing on the field after he was drafted in the 6th round, Chris America?
No. Neither did his 40 time. So that's why I don't get why certain positions run. Like certain positions, I get it. Wide receivers, even offensive linemen, they have to run downfield in certain types of plays, especially if you're going to run those RPOs. You want to know that your lineman can move sideline to sideline and then get downfield and block on certain types of screens and things of that sort. But quarterbacks, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Some of the other big names that I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to perform. I mean, most of the sports talk will be discussing these guys nonstop. Ed Oliver, defensive tackle out of Houston. he didn't finish the season off very well because he was having dispute with his coach. He was injured. It didn't end well, but this guy could legitimately be a top 5 talent in this NFL draft. So I'm excited to see how he does on the combine. And another intriguing talent is from your favorite program. That's right, the Florida Gators. That edge rusher they have over there, Polite. This guy could end up making himself an early first-day draft pick if he has a great showing at the combine. So there's definitely some intrigue around how these young guys will do, but I think sometimes in the media, we hype this thing up way too much.
Well, I think it's sort of part of the machine, right? The NFL machine is just so great at PR and advertising and branding itself that they've built it to get this far. They've made it this far. I don't know how they've done it, but they've done it. You don't see the NBA combine or whatever the equivalent is. I don't even know if Major League Baseball has one. Soccer, that's a laugh, and so is hockey. I mean, the NFL just does everything bigger and better than all the other sports in the United States.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Chris and Merrick, I can't talk about the combine too much. I mean, I just feel like it's not. I'm not feeling it this morning. So,
well, let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Will Kyler Murray get measured? That's the big question of the day, the hot topic. And should he get measured?
Should he and will he? Wow. Chris America, that is a good question. The answer is he should not get measured. I think it's going to hurt him no matter what he does. Will he? Probably not. I don't know. Chris, I can't answer your question here. This is too tough to answer. It just depends. Like if he's going to measure in at 5'8.5", I just don't think that's going to be good for his NFL stock. I think it's better just not to get measured.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like, he's short. That's it. You don't have to put a measuring tape and see that he's 5'8.5". If you're sitting there thinking as an NFL quarter or NFL coach or GM, and you're going, oh man, if he was 5'9.5", I'd take him. But if he's 5'8.5", I can't do it. Now, granted, if he comes in and he's 5'6", 5'7", then that's a whole different story. But if we're talking about fractions of an inch, then I don't understand what the deal. Either you've accepted that he's 5'9" or he's short, or you don't. I don't know what the whole measuring tape thing would solve.
It doesn't solve anything, Chris America. It really doesn't. That's the problem. All it's going to do is create all this extra drama around him that we don't need. We don't need all that drama. But in the media, that's what we love. We love to talk these things up. We love to get overly dramatic about all these things about how tall this guy is, when all that matters is how well he plays on the field. And that's what the most important part is. How many quarterbacks has John Elway drafted or tried to groom because they were your prototypical 6'4" or 6'5", just strong arm, really great, measurable quarterbacks that have absolutely done nothing in the league? When you have other guys like, let's say, a Russell Wilson who ends up falling to the 3rd round, 4th round of the draft, and guys like that end up coming into the NFL and making a splash. A guy like we mentioned, Tom Brady, one of the biggest known names in the football universe, was a 6th round pick. We know that these scouts have no idea what they're doing, and we know that these measurables, they mean something, but they don't mean as much as they want to give them credit for. So again, I just, this whole thing, it becomes a circus, a dog and pony show, and it's really kind of disgusting when you think about it.
Well, I have a next level stats for you, Loudbeard, and that is Daniel Jones, who I didn't really hear much about during the college football season, probably because he was playing for Duke. He's a 4th-year junior, and a lot of people are starting to rate him as the 2nd-best quarterback in this draft. This could be your future quarterback here, Loudbeard. We didn't even mention him in your dating game, matching game, and he's 6'5". He's had 12 balls batted down. Loudbeard, the Kyler Murray, our boy Kyler Murray, had 5 batted down at the line of scrimmage all season long. So what does that tell you? It tells you that Kyler Murray and his height, he's figured out ways. I don't know if he's rolling out a lot or what he's been doing to keep his balls batted down, but he's gotten far less balls batted down to the line of scrimmage than Daniel Jones, who's 6'5", who's almost a foot taller than him.
So you're saying that size doesn't matter.
That's what I'm telling you and all the ladies.
How'd that work out for you? Is that advice being taken by the ladies?
I'm just saying, size doesn't matter. Draft Kyler Murray.
All right, since we're talking NFL, I do have another little quick NFL nugget for you, Chris America. The Oakland Raiders have signed an agreement to stay in Oakland one more year in 2019. For a while there, we had no idea where they would be playing. But the Raiders and your favorite coach, John Gruden, will be sticking around in Oakland, which means that Beast Mode might actually re-sign with Oakland and give it one more year if they're going to stay in. If the Raiders are going to stay in Oakland, he may stay there because that's his hometown. That's where he loves, and that's the fan base that he loves.
Yeah, that whole situation is just so weird and so awkward. I don't like it because I'm a big fan of teams staying, working with the cities that they operate in. I think NFL teams should definitely spend way more money than they do on their stadiums, especially since they're the main draw, the main reason why we're building a stadium. But they just don't. They've figured out ways to bully cities and finagle and haggle and scam their way into getting stadiums built for them. But it is what it is, Loudbeard.
Wow, speaking of bullying and finagling, John Gruden is he's got 3 first-round draft picks, and we're talking about the Combine. So the Raiders should be keeping a close eye on all of this young talent.
He's probably going to draft 3 quarterbacks.
He loves quarterbacks. John Gruden loves himself some quarterbacks. So with all that being said, Chris America, I have a question for you. Do you think John Gruden uses all 3 of those draft picks, or do you think he's going to try to trade up or go maybe reach for a guy early in the first round and trade up those 2 late first-round picks that he's got? Because he's got, I believe it's like the 24th and 27th pick, and then they have their own pick, which is the 4th pick. So you think Gruden's going to be active on trade day when he sees all of these young athletic quarterbacks at the Combine wearing their whitey tighties?
I think so. I think they could. Arizona Cardinals have the number 1 overall pick, and from everything they're saying, they don't want a quarterback. So if they don't want a quarterback, they're looking at, Arizona could drop to number 4, get a whole bunch of picks from the Oakland Raiders. They know that San Francisco's not looking for a quarterback. They know that New York's not looking for a quarterback, or they're not looking for the positions that they need. So, actually, no. If I'm the Raiders, I stay put because the 3 teams in front of me, they don't have a need for a quarterback now that I'm looking at it. Arizona, San Francisco, and New York are not selecting a quarterback. So I have no need to trade up for that number 1 overall pick. So I stay put, and then I take whatever quarterback I want if I'm the Oakland Raiders. Maybe I trade to move up for some other positions in the draft. I don't know what their other draft needs are. I feel like it's everything plus a coach. So, yeah.
So they could trade all those picks up and actually get a new coach. So, okay.
I mean, they traded Gruden before. Why not do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when I look at this, I mean, Oakland has a lot of flexibility of what they could do. Now, you're talking about a quarterback. Are we already done with the Derek Carr era? Are we going to put him out to pasture?
From everything I've heard is that Derek Carr is gone. I haven't heard a single story where John Gruden is just over the moon in love with Derek Carr. John Gruden is just a weird guy where he wants his fingerprints all over everything. So because Derek Carr's not his guy, I don't think Derek Carr's going to be hanging out too much longer in Oakland. If he does, I'll be surprised, and I'll believe that it would be because John Gruden couldn't get something better. But I don't know, man. I think John Gruden is hell-bent on stripping this team down to the nuts and bolts and building it back up.
Yeah, absolutely. I see what you're saying there, but if you have a quarterback, I mean, Oakland invested a ton of money in a quarterback. They give him this huge extension, and he had performed at a Pro Bowl level just a couple years ago. So there's so much potential here. but is it just because of John Gruden's arrogance and ego that you think he's ready to just completely discredit Derek Carr at this point?
Yep. That's exactly what it is. John Gruden doesn't operate in the same world as everybody else. So if he can trade it, and you know what? I think he's going to get some decent value for him. I don't know if he'll get a first-round pick, but I think there's a team out there, maybe the Dolphins. Who else is out there just in desperate need of a quarterback? Your Redskins?
Oh,
So
yeah, we are.
There's a lot of suitors out there that John Gruden can move. Now, I don't know what the salary cap situations are for either of those two teams, if that would work with, that extension that you just talked about. But there's some teams out there that are willing to give Derek Carr a chance. But I guess the way John Gruden might see it is that, wow, you guys gave this much money to this quarterback? I mean, he's good, but he's not that good. And he wants to move him.
Gotcha. Former Oakland Raider Michael Crabtree gets dropped by the Ravens. So the Raiders are all over the news, aren't they? They're just news nuggets all over the place. The NFL just wants to stay regular, right? Regular in the media.
They're regulators.
They are. They're like Warren G and Nate
G.
Dogg.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Chris
So
America,
let me ask you that. Let me
Yeah.
ask you this. What's Michael Crabtree's value? Is that somebody that teams need to go pick up? Is that going to be a discount priced wide receiver that's going to give you first, maybe second wide receiver numbers? Or what are you thinking here with Michael Crabtree?
Michael Crabtree is a talented wide receiver. Now, he is not a number one wide receiver, especially after being dropped by the Ravens. What I think he would end up being is a second, probably third wide receiver on a team, depending on how much talent the team has. And I think somebody's going to get him at a value. I think he's going to be a value pick if it's a team that is maybe in playoff contention. Here, I'll throw out an example. The Patriots. The Patriots always are looking for talented wide receivers. They like to give these veterans a chance. And I think a guy like Tom Brady could use the talent of Michael Crabtree. I think that would help him out tremendously.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he would be a good wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 option. He's not bad to have. His numbers have just kind of been ho-hum the last couple of years, though. In Oakland, he had 618 yards this past year with the Ravens, 607. So if you're picking him up, don't expect too much production out of him. But I think he'll bring some good veteran leadership. I think he can add some value to your team. But, I mean, he's been in the league since 2009. So this isn't a spring chicken here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him on my Washington Redskins. We did not have a lot of wide receiver production, and I think he would be a nice fit in there. But anything can happen from here on out, so we'll see what the market, the kind of interest they have for Michael Crabtree. Nobody's going to really look at him until after the draft, so we're going to see how that all plays out here in the near future. All right, Chris America, I do need to switch up gears a little bit here for you. We talked a lot about the NFL, and it's kind of too early for that. But I do want to bring this up real quick. All right.
9 seconds left in the game, and play has stopped.
Did you see this, Chris America?
I don't know what this is.
So Doc Rivers stops the game, grabs the microphone in the middle of the Clippers-Mavs game.
Doc is on the mic.
Giving it up to Dirk.
Giving a salute to Dirk Nowitzki.
I've never seen this before. Players of all time, Dirk Nowitzki. Wow.
In LA, his last game at the
This is,
Staples Center. Chris America, this is a beautiful moment. Trending all over Twitter. The Los Angeles crowd was just giving this guy one heck of an ovation. And Doc Rivers, one of the classiest dudes in all of the NBA, man. Orlando native here. He makes his residence here in Orlando, former Magic coach. But Doc Rivers stops a NBA game and gives an ovation and has the crowd stand up and gives it to a player on the opposite team. But because Dirk Nowitzki is such a legend in the NBA, and this is probably his final season, it was like the middle of the third quarter, and Doc's like, timeout, goes to the stand, pulls up the microphone. I had goosebumps when I watched this, Chris America. Goosebumps.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing to do, and you don't normally get that with athletes, right? We haven't. It used to be you had this is going to be my final year announcement, and we get to do like the whole swan song for them, and we get to kind of celebrate their career the rest of the final season. And now it's just kind of we're just waiting. Like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And then finally, at the end of a season, they say, "I'm out, peace," and that's how it ends. We don't really get the swan song, so it's kind of cool to finally get one with Dirk Nowitzki, and it's cool to see Doc Rivers do something like that for him.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then when we were for the All-Star game, it was nice to see that Adam Silver made Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki both participants in that All-Star game, kind of honoring those guys, right? Like these are legends in the game, living legends, and we're honoring them the right way. And it made me think back at some of the other times in sports when these guys got to be honored. And one of the more recent ones that I can remember is Mariano Rivera. When he announced that it was going to be his final season, it seemed like everywhere he went, when he was being called in, when Enter Sandman played, every opposing field gave him such an ovation. And usually when the closer comes in to beat your team, it's not something that you start cheering about, but that guy would always get a cheer. So you think about these legends that we've got a chance to witness in our lifetime. A guy like Mariano Rivera, a guy like Dirk Nowitzki, a guy like Dwayne Wade, and we just get to honor what we're seeing out there. And I think it's great. I think this is one of the reasons why we love sports, or at least why I love sports, is the good stories, right? I get tired of hearing the Robert Kraft having an R&T. I don't like that. I don't get any enjoyment out of that. I get enjoyment out of seeing.
I get a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when we hit sometimes there's a little TMZ news reporter inside of me that says, "Yes." I'm sorry, Loudbeard. I'm an awful person.
It's okay. You are the TMZ reporter of Scout Team Radio, and I guess we need that. Like, I'll be the warm and cuddly. I like the good stories. The good stories don't sell. That's the problem.
No, and
It's
I
the
do
bad
like
ones that
when
sell.
I do like when we separate our hatred for the other team and the other player, and we actually do just celebrate the person and what they meant to the sport. I mean, Derek Jeter, you mentioned Mariano Rivera. I'm thinking about Derek Jeter, too, and his last year and how people celebrated him. Because usually when Yankees come to the mound, fans cheering, they say,
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
can't do it.
Yeah, there's
We'll
a lot
do
of there's a lot of great players that we've seen come and go, and it seems like more often than not, these players just kind of fade away. A lot of them aren't at the top of their game when they go out, so a lot of times they get traded or move teams. A guy like Tony Parker. Like, Tony Parker would have been a great guy to see retire as a Spur and just go out as his last season, and things would have been okay. But now he's moved around to the Hornets. He's moved around to other places. But a guy like Dirk stayed with the Mavericks his entire career, and the Mavericks have honored him in a way that has just been amazing. It's like Kobe Bryant stayed with the Lakers his entire career, and in his final game, he got to chuck up like 60 baskets, or at least 60 shot attempts, and they sent him out on how he came into the league, and that was just shooting. And that's a way to honor these guys, and I like the honorable way the NBA has treated Dirk and some of these other players. To me, that's the feel-good stuff, Chris America.
Yeah, and when these guys do start getting passed around because they're a lot older and teams don't want to commit to the long contracts that they want, and they start making room for younger guys, I feel like they should come back to their original team just for one game so we can honor and celebrate them. I think that should be allowed.
Yeah, I agree with that, Chris America. Now, another guy that should be honored breaks another record last night, and that's your man, LeBron James. He becomes the 10th all-time leader in assists. Now, this is a pretty good feat for a guy that's not even a point guard.
This is LeBron James?
That's LeBron James, 10th all-time in assists.
This is what we're taking away from his game last night?
We're gonna get to the other stuff. We're gonna get to let's honor him for what he's done.
Before we hate on him, let's honor him.
All right. And the Lakers lose to a really bad Grizzlies team, and LeBron James has a terrible shooting night. He takes plays off defensively, and his playoff mode that he engaged seems to be sputtering. So, Chris America, I'm kind of losing a little bit of faith in LeBron James and him making a playoff push here. I'm losing it a little bit.
All right, let's honor him first by saying that that is awesome that he's 10th in the league in assists or 10th all-time in assists. Now, he's been in the league for a while, so some of that is just, hey, I'm here. I might as well get some assists while I'm here. And the other part is just LeBron James is one of the greatest players of all time. But with that being said, he did have a triple-double for what that's worth.
Yeah, no, that's a great feat, except it's only these things seem like they would mean more if he could help his team win, right? Doesn't it seem like that would matter more?
Yeah, well, the Memphis Grizzlies are tough. They have Pau Gasol, or not Pau Gasol, but Marc Gasol. He's just a monster.
Don't.
Wait,
no, they
what?
don't. No, he got traded to the Toronto Raptors, or he's not there anymore.
Dang. Well, sorry, LeBron. Maybe he thought he was still there.
He was playing like he was still there. Maybe that defensive presence is still there. It's lurking. It's like in the shadows.
Yeah, Loudbeard, this whole I'm activating my playoff, I feel like that was just so contrived, and I think he felt like he needed to say that because of all of the other things he had been saying. But actions speak louder than words, and he's just been aloof on the court. He seems disconnected from his teammates, and we suspected that would happen after this trade deadline came about, that you can't just try to trade away your whole entire team, and then when it doesn't work out, be like, friends, want to come have some s'mores? We can all get along? No, doesn't work that way, LeBron. It just doesn't. And they had that big win against the Celtics, and that was it. I mean, like I told you then, you can only ride that, oh, it's us against the world mentality for so long before your talent starts creeping back up and the problems that you have with each other start creeping back up, and then you become the team that's 1-4 in the last 5 games.
They're actually they've lost 10 out of their last 14. I mean, it's an ongoing thing. So 1-4 in the last 5, but even in the last 14 games, they've only won 4 games. I mean, this is just a bad team, and I knew at the beginning of the season when this whole Lakers experiment started with LeBron going to the Lakers, you and we talked about how it was going to be a train wreck, and I was trying to hold belief that LeBron would carry this team, but more and more I'm starting to come over to the dark side, Chris America, and this is a lost season for LeBron. This is a lost season. I don't even know if they can make the playoffs at this point. It's not looking good.
Loudbeard, I'm going to do a way too early hot take question. But we only have 2 minutes to discuss it. So maybe I'll ask it and then we'll go to break and we'll come back on the other side of the break. Let's say they don't get the players they want or any other superstars they want next year, and it's the same thing we have going on now. Do the Lakers, going into year 3 of LeBron James, if they're still trying to trade players, trying to acquire players, do they maybe move LeBron James and start thinking about the Lakers' future?
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst."
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-ounce sports radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 120zsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb.
Ring Central features all-in-one phone, messaging, and video conferencing. It's easy to use with unparalleled security. Ring Central simplifies things so you can grow. Call Ring Central to speak with a representative about a price for your growing business at 877-779-3860. Again, that's 877-779-3860.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in each and every morning, 6 a.m. on 12-Ounce Sports Radio, replay at 11 a.m., and we drop the podcast. We're part of the Barn Burner Podcast Network. We're a proud partner with them, and we have our podcast available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and our website, scoutteamradio.com. So anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us. Just search Scout Team Radio. We also like getting a social from time to time, so make sure you hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. You can live tweet the show. We'll take your tweets and we'll talk about them on air if we choose, and it's a lot of fun. So make sure you do that. We also have a Facebook and Instagram page at Scout Team Radio. Make sure you check those out when you get a chance. Like them, subscribe, friend, whatever you do on those social sites. Do all of that with us here at Scout Team Radio.
Hey, Loudbeard.
And without further ado, Chris America.
Hey, Loudbeard.
He teased a little bit right before that commercial break, but I think it's time to move forward. And Chris America, if you're out there in Radio Land,
can you not hear me?
Can you tell our listeners one more time
Loudbeard,
what it is that you wanted to talk about after
me?
the break here?
Can you not hear me?
Never mind.
Can you not hear me?
He fell asleep. So Chris America will wake up in just a minute, and when he does, we will talk about anything and everything sports related. But for now, I do need to bring up some more NBA news. Now, yesterday was the NHL trade deadline, so NHL
microphone
news
check.
is coming fast and furiously, so we'll get into that here in just a little bit. But until then, I do want to talk about some NBA. Big story last night. The Suns snapped their 17-game losing streak. Now, that normally would be a good thing when your team wins, but as we mentioned with the Knicks when they snapped their losing streak at Madison Square Garden, is you
are
do
so
not...
dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
All right. Hold on.
Can you not hear me?
Yeah, no. Chris America, I cannot hear you.
That's really weird. Can you hear me now?
All right, look at that. Technical difficulties again for another morning. Let me double-check my equipment real quick, and we'll make sure it's me, not you. That's what she said?
Welcome to Scout Team Radio. Is this microphone on? Well, now I think I lost Loudbeard, so I don't know if I'm the one talking, if you're the one talking, but this is weird. Hopefully it's me coming through the radio. Maybe I should just turn on the station and see who's getting through and who is not. I hate having technical difficulties all the time is embarrassing. All right. All right, sounds like I'm coming through, and now Loudbeard is gone. So now it's up to me to carry the show. I asked the question of whether or not the Lakers should move LeBron James. And some people are going to tell me that that's a hot takey question. But when you think about it, they signed him to a 4-year deal. If they get through half of that deal and are no better off than they were, other than just we're a team that maybe sometimes makes the playoffs and everything, the second half of that deal is going to be an older, slower, less athletic LeBron James. So, an older, slower, and less athletic LeBron James is still one of the top players in the league, but if he's not able to lead you to the promised land like you thought when you signed LeBron James, if he's not able to bring you championships, what's the point of keeping him for 2 more years just to have what we have today? Just to have a hoping and praying and fighting for an 8th seed team that's going to get swept out by whatever team is the number 1 seed, most likely the Golden State Warriors. What's the point of keeping him around? If you can get some great value, which I believe there's lots of teams that would love to give up value. Let's say KD decides to go to the Knicks or to Boston or to wherever. Let's say he leaves and Draymond Green leaves and it's just Klay Thompson and Steph Curry again. Man, the Warriors would love to give up some pieces to have LeBron James, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. That to me sounds like a perfect scenario for a trade. And if I'm the Lakers and they give me lots of great pieces, now I don't know what they would have to offer if KD and Draymond Green are gone, but, just bear with me here. Or maybe some other team. Maybe there's other teams out there that are on that precipice of winning a championship, and they're willing to give up a lot to get LeBron James. I think, me personally, if I'm Magic Johnson, I do it. I trade LeBron James after year 2 if we're still in the same boat that we were before and all of that jazz. I still don't hear Loudbeard back yet.
Well, Chris America, I'm right here. I can hear you now. I've been having more technical difficulties. Yesterday I had a bad case of the Mondays. Today I'm having a bad case of the Tuesdays. I could not hear you at all. It's like my headphones died in mid-show, which is completely crazy. So I found an alternative way to hear you. So you were there the whole time. I just couldn't hear you, so I was probably sounding like a crazy person. And I see you text me like,
at first I thought you were.
I can hear you.
At first I thought you were giving me the old Anthony Mack joke where you pretend not to hear me.
I should have done that. That would have been funny. But unfortunately, I'm not that witty in the morning, Chris America. I wish I was a little bit more witty.
You had technical difficulties yesterday. Then you were back. Then you had technical difficulties again. Now you're back again. How do you feel?
I feel bad about my technical difficulties. I do. I feel as bad as LeBron James does for bringing this losing culture to the Lakers, and as bad as Magic Johnson feels when he's going to have to trade LeBron.
So do you feel like? Do you agree with? Were you able to hear everything I was saying?
Just the tail end of it. You were talking about trading LeBron to the Warriors.
Yes. Anywhere in the team. I was just coming up with different scenarios of teams that will need LeBron James in 2 years, where the Lakers won't have that same need for LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, this offseason is going to be a big deal for the Lakers because, again, LeBron's not a spring chicken, and they can't go another season with what they're putting out there on the court this season. They have to go out and get a big free agent or make a big trade. And if none of that pans out and they go into next season with basically the same core guys that they have this season, yeah, it might be time to start looking at backup plans. And I mean, I hate to say that because LeBron's a great guy, but a great player. I don't know if he's a great guy. I don't know him personally, but he's a great player. But LA, man, it's time to. You better start coming up with some plans, because if you don't make a big move this offseason, the LeBron James experiment is officially on the downturn.
And it would be a failure. I think if he goes, I think if he can't even get them to the Western Conference Finals, then the LeBron James experiment was for naught.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that too harsh of a expectation? I mean, that's why you brought LeBron,
for next
right?
year or this year for the Western Conference Finals?
No. I'm saying he's signed a 4-year contract. If LeBron James in a Laker jersey never takes him to the Western Conference Finals. Now, obviously, the business side of it, the Lakers made out. They're going to make out in hands over fists. Like the Brinks trucks are just flowing in with money that LeBron James brings. So the business side of it, it's never a bad idea to bring in a guy like LeBron James to your franchise. But the fan side of it, the championship aspect side of it, the main reason why we think that our teams bring in these all-stars and these superstars is to get them over the hump, to get them to the next level of whatever it is they're trying to get. Whether it's the Western Conference Finals, I feel like Western Conference Finals is a easy expectation for a team like the Lakers. That's where the Lakers fan base, the Lakers tradition, that's their, litmus test there. That's their lowest bar. This whole not making the playoffs or being an 8th seed swept out of the first round, that's Magic stuff. That's our side over here with the Orlando Magic. We're hoping for that. But the Lakers, they're above that. Whether or not they should be or not, that's another point. But the fact is that Laker fans and NBA fans believe that the Lakers bar is set so high that you have to get over the Western Conference Finals bar. You have to get to that point.
Yeah, the expectations have been high. This season, where they're sitting right now, is a failure. And once you got LeBron James on your team, you're expecting a playoff push. You're expecting deep run. And then once the 4-year plan where Magic was going to bring in some additional players, you expect this team to be competing for a championship. And where it looks like it's going right now, it doesn't seem like that's where it's going to get to. It doesn't seem like LeBron James has enough left in the tank. He kind of seems aloof, checked out, like you had mentioned earlier. He just doesn't seem like he's got it now. Is it because of the teammates? Is it because he knows that this is a done season? I don't know, but the Lakers have some decisions to make, and they're going to be aggressive getting him some help initially. But if some of these players don't pan out, yeah, I'm with you, Chris America. This could potentially be a huge failure for Los Angeles.
And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this box score against Memphis, and the shining star again is Brandon Ingram. Maybe that should have been Magic Johnson's, attempt to do all along. Maybe he should have been just saying he's got his superstar, his future NBA Hall of Famer right there on his roster. Maybe his plan should have been, let me build a team around Brandon Ingram rather than just let me grab LeBron James, the easy answer, and try to force that into a situation that's just not there.
Well, this is the problem with Ingram. He has a huge game last night, but he's an up-and-down kind of player, and he has the potential. That's why he was drafted so high originally, and he could go and be something on another team, but he's at such a different level in development that LeBron James is at, and Magic Johnson is not a patient guy. The Lakers fan base is not patient. They're not giving Brandon Ingram the time to develop. Now, Ingram has a huge game last night, but there's games that he disappears at. So he's a young guy that needs to develop, and maybe by year 6 or 7, you could see him being at an all-star level. But you're not seeing that now. And Magic Johnson is in win now. The Lakers are always in win now. They're not a rebuild team. Yeah, they kind of got into that rebuild mode, but as soon as they got LeBron James, you knew that rebuilding was not a thing, and that Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma, instead of being pieces of the future, they became trade bait today so that they can get another superstar in to pair with LeBron James. So, yes, Ingram's showing flashes of brilliance, but he's still got so much more development to do, and the clock is ticking. So you're right. Maybe they should have waited it out and trusted the process like a team like Philadelphia did, but that's just not LA's identity. That's not what they do.
Yeah, well, it seems like they're going to find themselves in between a rock and a hard place pretty soon if this experiment doesn't work out. If they can't get Anthony Davis, let's say Anthony Davis gets traded to Boston, he loves playing with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, or Draymond Green goes and signs out there with Boston too, and they all sing honky-dory, we're winning titles over here, and AD decides to stay, and Klay Thompson just can't get away from Golden State. He just loves playing with Steph Curry too much, and they can't sign him. I mean, what else is available for the Lakers to build around? What am I missing here? They missed on Paul George. They missed on Anthony Davis. I don't feel like there's many other guys that are just clamoring to go play with LeBron in LA.
There really isn't. And, the free agent class this season is a pretty huge free agent class. The problem is where are these guys going to go? A guy like Kawhi, I could see Kawhi re-signing with the Raptors. He could pull like a Paul George where he just doesn't commit. Klay Thompson, he's happy in Golden State. So, yeah, maybe he won't want to go to LA, but do you really want to leave all those championships on the table? And after that, Anthony Davis, what if he gets traded to the Celtics? What if Kyrie re-signs with the Celtics? There are so many what-if scenarios that none of them can include the Lakers. There is a good chance that the Lakers can't get any of these guys. And that's why the Lakers were so aggressive at the trade deadline to get Anthony Davis, because they knew that the clock is ticking and they have to strike now. And there is a real possibility. It's kind of the New York Knicks conundrum. Every season, the New York Knicks are going to go out and get big free agents because they have 2 max salary slots on their roster. Well, you know what ends up happening? They end up getting like second and third tier guys because all the big free agents end up going elsewhere. And that, to me, could be a very real future for the LA Lakers.
Yeah, because now it's not even about what city are you in, what can that city do for you, what's that team's coach or anything like that. It's really, hey, where are the other guys at? Where are my homeboys at? What are we doing here? Are we going to win championships in Miami this year? Cool, I'll meet you down in Miami. Are we doing it in Golden State? All right, let's do it in Golden State for a little while. Now it seems like, Boston and Philadelphia are 2 spots that have rosters built up a little bit through trade and draft like we talked about yesterday. And that's where free agents are most likely going to go. They're not going to go to New York if by themselves. Like Kevin Durant might love the New York Knicks, but he's not going to New York by himself. Especially now that we've seen what it looks like with LeBron James, where, hey, man, if you go out to a team like the Lakers or like the Knicks as a superstar, you're left on an island all by yourself, and it is not a good look for you. This was not a good look. LeBron James got hung out to dry with this whole movement thing and free agency thing, and he's going to be watching the playoffs this year, quite possibly from home, and we are all now looking at LeBron James and criticizing his effort, criticizing his leadership, and I think this is going to deter players from wanting to go sign with teams that don't already have established rosters.
Well, I don't know why LeBron signed with the Lakers to begin with. This was a terrible decision from the very beginning, and when you're a superstar player, you do need to look at the roster you have. When he went back to Cleveland, they had Kyrie, and they had the number 1 overall pick with Andrew Wiggins. And they traded Wiggins for Kevin Love, and they have pieces around him, and he can make it work. When you looked at L.A., it didn't have the same pieces. Nobody was sitting there saying, okay, L.A.'s at a point where they're ready to strike. It was more of this is a team that has potential. In 3 to 4 years, they might be contenders. Well, LeBron signs a 4-year contract on a team that could be ready in 3 to 4 years. It never made sense. And I think that these free agents are going to heavily weigh on that and consider what the roster looks like when they go to these teams. A guy like Kawhi could stay in Toronto because that's a winning team with a deep roster. It makes sense, right? And if Kyrie leaves Boston, he's not going to go to the Phoenix Suns or the New York Knicks. Why would you go to a team that is sitting at the bottom of the conference? You want to go to a team that is leading or that has potential that you could be that next piece to get to a championship. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and you would think that if he does go to the Knicks, or I don't think Phoenix is even in the question, but it would have to be with 2 or 3 other players, right? It would have to be with Kevin Durant and somebody else. I don't know who that somebody else would be, but yeah, I feel like Kyrie's going to be more wanting to stay in Boston, especially if Boston's like, look, man, we're going to get AD. That's why the Pelicans didn't trade him. We're going to get AD, and he's going to come over here, and you guys are going to start winning some titles or start contending in the East. And then maybe Kawhi does stay in Toronto, or maybe he does leave and he goes to like a Philadelphia or a Boston, or scary to say it, maybe Golden State if Draymond and Klay Thompson leave. You know what I mean? So I doubt he goes to the Lakers unless other players take that plunge with him.
But what if Space Jam 2 comes out and the Lakers haven't been to the NBA Finals? Asked by Memphis Spence on Twitter.
That's a good question.
That's a thought provoker right there.
That's a thought-provoking daily question. Now, if you're the Looney Tunes and you're seeing how LeBron James and his team is doing right now, are you a little worried you're going to be a slave to an alien race?
No, I'm not worried.
I would be worried.
Yeah, you're
I'd
right.
be a little
we should all be
concerned.
worried. It's like the Lakers making the playoffs.
The
we
Looney
should all
Tunes,
be worried right now.
The Looney Tunes got Michael Jordan, what, like 94, 95? That is prime time Michael Jordan. That is right before he won 72 games with the Chicago Bulls and ran off another three-peat. That is Michael Jordan at his best. Where LeBron James, they're getting old. LeBron James kind of like, it's my teammates' fault as to why we're not their fault. They're used to losing. They have a losing culture here. I don't know what to do. Like, that's what's going to happen. The Looney Tunes are going to end up enslaved, and LeBron James is going to be like, I tried my best, but the Looney Tunes, they just have a losing culture. So, I mean, losers get enslaved by alien races, so go have fun being enslaved.
Well, Chris America, we have talked a lot about LeBron James. I know that's your favorite subject, but we only have a couple minutes left, and I do have to briefly talk about this NHL trade deadline because it was fast and furious the last couple days, especially yesterday. And you and I, we're not huge hockey guys, but we're starting to get into the fold. So a couple of the trade moves yesterday and over the last few days that really were kind of the big moves of the NHL trade deadline. The Golden Knights, they land the prize of the deadline, and that's Mark Stone, a dynamic winger and top defensive forward in the league that will help this Golden Knights compete for the Cup. That's an exciting move. So Vegas, they're not sitting on their hands. They're out there. They're staying aggressive. The Blue Jackets, another aggressive team. They added a ton of talent, a bunch of moves. And Nashville, your Nashville Predators, the team that you like, they acquired some good talent. They got Mikael Grunland and Wayne Simmons. So we're seeing some of these teams, now that they know that the playoffs are within reach, are really going out to get aggressive to give themselves a final push for the NHL.
You know those bunch of jerks from the Hurricanes? Or the bunch of jerks that are the Hurricanes?
I love those bunch of jerks. They're my boys.
You know how much of a jerks they are now?
How much?
They sent poo to the Florida Panthers.
Bunch of jerks.
Yeah, Cliff Poo got traded to the Florida Panthers. So, what a bunch of jerks sending poo to another team.
Chris America, we had one more tweet in on our Twitter line before we finish the show up. So, Mike Berlon from Craft Brewed Sports, he says, LeBron giving Elmer Fudd that look he gave J.R. Smith at the end of regulation in Game 1 of the Finals would be the best thing ever.
Yes.
Yes.
That is what I need in my life. You know what? That will make me want to go see the movie. Now I got to go see it just so I can see LeBron James, giving him that look. Maybe then in overtime, he's like asking, how many timeouts they had, and they're just disappointed on the bench while Elmer and Daffy and all them are just trying to discuss a game. I don't know if LeBron has any special juice like Michael Jordan had. Or was it special drink?
It was Purple Drink.
Hit the music. There we go. Nope, wrong one. Oh, no, this is the right one. It's been so long.
All right, it's been a great show. Thank you all for listening in. I promise tomorrow my technical difficulties will be fewer and farther between.
Loudbeard, you better come and show out, because
I want winners.